Good morning, grade 4s and 5s. Goeiemôre, graad 4s en 5s. Today we will be doing Afrikaans. Vandag gaan ons Afrikaans doen. Okay, so for today, please have a look at your timetable. Ensure that you have all of the correct books, the correct textbook, as well as Blitz Afrikaans. Okay. So on the first page that I want you to go to is page 33. In your Blitz Afrikaans. Bladsy 33 in jou Blitz Afrikaans. Okay. Uiterlike bou van 'n gedig is die opskrif. So that is the heading. The way that a poem is built. Okay. So on this page, we're just quickly going to look at it. There's nothing specific we need to discuss on this page, but you get two types of sonnets, just like in English, Italian sonnet, Italiaanse sonnet, and an English sonnet, Engelse sonnet. Okay, so that's just types of poems, types gedigte. Okay, but further than that, you don't need to know much on this page. Next page is page 34. Now this page is important. Go to page 34 in your Blitz Afrikaans. Rym wanneer eenderse klanke herhaal word. Okay, so you get two types of rhyme. Volrym of eindrym en halfrym. Okay, so we have talked about alliteration and assonance before. Now that is only when they call it half rhyme, when it's only halfway that it rhymes. So for example, when alliteration, when consonants are repeated, and assonance is when vowels are repeated. So for example, if we look at the examples there, dou oor die duine. The D is alliteration, alliterasie. Or geen wyntjie wat waai nie. The W is the alliteration. Die W is die alliterasie. Assonansie is wanneer die vokale herhaal, okay, or the vowels repeat. So for example, this is usually in a word, not always, but usually because we usually find vowels inside of words. Okay, so for example, oor die groen poel. Okay, the first part, the oo, O-E sound in both of the words are repeated. Then the next, stil en dik was. So the I in the word stil en dik is the vowel that is repeated. Okay. Then if you go on to the next page, full rhyme. So when full rhyming. So this is when you get different types of rhyming. So I've taught you that when we see a poem, usually we try to see the rhyming and we try to say, we number the lines, okay, or name them A, B, C, D to see which ones rhymes with which. So, for example, we have 4 lines of a poem, and the first line and the second line rhymes, and then the third and the fourth line's last word rhymes. Then it would be A, B, B, okay? That would be pair rhyming, paar rhyme. Then cross rhyming, kruisrym is when it's A, B, or C, D. Omarmde rym is when it's A, B, A, C, D, C. Gebroken rhyme is broken rhyme, is when there's not really a rhyme. Here and there is a sentence that rhymes, but there's no pattern, okay? And then vrye vorm or free rhyming is pretty simple. There's no rhyming really, maybe 1 or 2 words that rhyme, but there's no sequence, no pattern. Okay, so that's the different forms of rhyme. Then we have looked at this before, so this is not in your book, this is just on the screen. We have pasted this in before in our old journals, so just try and remember. Okay, meervoude, which is plurals. Die klinkers kort vet soldate, hulle is dapper, maar omdat hulle te kort is, kry hulle 2 gewere. Okay, so basically what this means is when it's short vowels, so for example, a, e, o, I, the last letter of the word doubles and you add an E. That's how you would make it plural. So for example, kat changes to kat, tros, trosse. Okay, that's when the middle of the vowel in the middle of the word is short. Okay. Then the next one is when the vowels are longer. Okay, so it's double vowels or it's longer. So what happens there is we just add an E at the end of the word. So for example, boek, boeke, huis, huise, koei, koeie. Then for kleinwoorde or diminutives, now we're going to look just here in the middle. So for example, when you add with a chi or a yi, now chi is T-J-I-E or J-I-E. And then we have three rules. So for example, when there is two different vowels in the middle of the word, so for example, stoel changes to stoeltjie. Or when we have a word that ends with a D or a T, it gets a J-I-E to make it a diminutive. And then the last one is when it ends on an I-E. You just add a T-J-I-E. Okay, so for example, myntjie, horlosiekie. Okay. Then words that you just add an IE to make it a diminutive. Now, important to remember is I usually ask examples, okay? So if you just study the examples that you have, you will be fine, okay? Huis changes to huisie. So this is when words ends on an S, K, P, G, F, or an I. It gets an IE, okay? Then when it has double vowels, so for example, A-E-I-O. So for example, scarp changes to scarpie. We take one of the vowels away and we add an I at the end, okay? And then there's just a couple of words that you add a P-I-E. So for example, boompie, besempie. So it's usually words that ends with an M, that has an M at the end, okay? So if you go to your Afrikaans Blitz, you will see on page 23, they explain it to you as well. They give you a couple of examples. Now, these are the examples that you study, because these examples are the ones that I will be asking you, okay? So this is basically the rule. So let's look at meervoude, which is plurals. Meervoude word aangedui deur agtervoegsels ES, ERE, ENS, STEDE, dubbel kolletjie SE. Okay, so that's the way that those words that I just read, or letters, is what we add to certain words when to make them plural. Okay, so you can look through the lists. Then the same for diminutives or verkleining. We have a list, and that you can just remember different ways that we make these words diminutive. What do we use to change them? Basically, this is something that you need to study. You need to memorize them for the tests. Okay. So that is all that we have to do today. So here are the activities that you have to do. You have quite a bit of activities. We are, however, going to read a story together. If you join me online, we will be reading that. If you don't, then you can read it at home. Then grade 4s, just remember you have a formal assessment. Okay, thank you.